YouTube, what is going on? It's good to be back here with you. Today's video, super excited to shoot because I've not shot a car video in 8 months now, 7 or 8 months, but the last video I did was living with this car behind me. The video is called Living with the Fake Lamborghini. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But today's video is more specific. It's 5 reasons on why I think this car, the second generation Audi R8 V10, is the best daily driver supercar out right now. Whether it's new or used, I think it's the best. The first reason being the looks. Check it out. Audi R8 V10, second generation. It's a very beautiful car. In my opinion, it has supercar looks, especially being the second generation. It's updated. It has a lot of different features and lines and characteristics that are different from the first generation that I like. And it's funny because when this car first came out in 2016, the second generation, I didn't like how it looked. I didn't like the car. I'm like, they ruined it. But after 6 months of seeing it on the road and seeing it in videos and seeing it in photos and seeing them modified and having, you know, wheels lowered, some people had wings on them, it really grew on me. In my opinion, it's one of the best looking supercars out right now. And I say best because I don't mean best by craziest. I think best all around because it's subtle enough, but it's exotic enough. What I mean by that is it's not a McLaren, Ferrari, Lamborghini. The doors don't go up, right? But it's also not as subtle as a Porsche 911. Being an entry-level supercar in the price range of a Turbo S or maybe a 570S or a Huracan, it's not as crazy as some of those cars, but it's definitely crazier and better looking and more exotic looking than a Porsche 911. So being a supercar, you need to have the looks, and the Audi R8 definitely has the looks. And one more thing, before I forget, see this engine bay? It's glass. You could see the V10 in there. The motor is in the back of the car where it should be, and there's a big piece of glass and carbon fiber in the engine bay displaying the glorious, amazing V10. The Porsche 911 does not have that. The McLaren kind of has that, but it's kind of hidden. Obviously the Lamborghini has that because it shares the motor with this car, but this car has amazing looks. Supercar needs amazing looks. This Audi R8 definitely has it. Okay, second on the list is performance and sound. And I put performance and the sound into the same category because just because a supercar performs a certain way does not mean it's gonna sound a certain way. And if it's a supercar, in my opinion, it needs to sound a certain way. That's why this is still my number one, and this is my choice over a lot of supercars. The 570S is faster in certain aspects. The Turbo S definitely launches harder and has a faster 0 to 60 than this car. But this car definitely, in my opinion, sounds better than those two. And I talk about those two because those are the cars that are in the category of the price range of an entry-level supercar, right? So, performance. Let's talk about numbers. Since it's a V10 motor, whether you get the plus or the non-plus, you could tune it to about 620, 630 horsepower, which will do 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. It's all-wheel drive, so canyon driving this on a daily basis, if you really want, is no problem. It handles amazing with cold tires. The thing with a lot of these other supercars is most of them are rear-wheel drive, and when you have rear-wheel drive, you have to have the right tires, and you have to make sure your tires are warm, because if you floor a rear-wheel drive car with a lot of power, you'll peel out. If my tires are cold and I floor this car, since I have some solid tires on there, it'll hook and it'll grip really, really good. So being able to start the car and floor it and go around corners without warm tires makes this one of the best daily driver supercars in my opinion. Okay, speaking of sound, let's start up the car and give you a couple revs and see how that V10 sounds. Obviously it's not going to sound as good as in person, but we'll see how good it sounds through your speakers or your headphones or whatever you're listening to. on the list is comfort. And as a daily driver supercar, you need to have comfort. Obviously, if you have 4 or 5 different supercars and you don't need the comfort, you drive it once a month or once a weekend, it can be uncomfortable for the time you drive it because it's so amazing and it performs well, right? If you daily drive your supercar, in my opinion, you need the comfort, and this car definitely has the comfort. Being it is an Audi, it's not a Lamborghini with Lamborghini doors or McLaren. It has a normal door, which allows you to get in and out normally, and also doesn't have this crazy mono tub chassis to where on the 650S is here. And the 570 is a little lower, but it still comes here and you have to hop over it. This is a normal door seal to where you can get in and out of your car normally. These seats are honestly one of the most comfortable seats that I've sat in any car. Once you sit in it, I'm gonna sit in it right now. It's literally like, I feel like sometimes I'm driving an Audi A4 when I have this car in comfort because of how easy it is to drive and how comfortable it is to drive, and also how compliant the suspension is. Like when I hit a bump, it is just, it doesn't feel like a supercar. When I drive like a GT3 or something like a Lamborghini Aventador or even a Huracan or a 570, you feel the bumps, you feel every little thing in the road, which is really important on the track and for performance driving. But for daily driving, you want to be comfortable. This car is definitely one of the most comfortable supercars. Okay, being inside the car, obviously it's very comfortable. Like I said before, the ergonomics of the air, really easy to use, just like any other Audi. The infotainment is all right here, very easy to use too. Bang & Olufsen, the sound system. It's one of the best sound systems that comes in any car, not just supercar, but any car, really. Like I've been in a lot of cars with premium sound. This is one of the best sound systems. And if you haven't heard one, I highly recommend you listen to Bang & Olufsen sound system, specifically in the Audi R8. There's literally there's tweeters in the headrest. So the way this car performs and sounds is amazing, but the way it sounds inside with the sound system makes it that much better of a daily driver, honestly. So the comfort in the suspension, the comfort use of the ergonomics of the air conditioning and the infotainment, and the sound system ties everything in my opinion, to make this a very comfortable supercar. Number 4 on the list is price. And obviously, like I said before, if you have 4 or 5 supercars, you don't care about price, you don't care about comfort, you just want the car for what it is and performance or track or this or that or sound or exclusivity, right? No. But if you want to daily drive your supercar like I do, you definitely want to have it be price friendly. Obviously, buying a supercar, it's not cheap by any means. It's not a quote-unquote affordable car. But if you look at supercars and being affordable in the supercar market for being newer, it's very, very good. Obviously, you'll get the first generation V8 Audi R8s, which are great value. Those are around $60,000 in the used market. But if we take a look here, I pulled up Auto Trader, and we got the second generation Audi R8. The cheapest one we have here. It has 18,000 miles. It's 120 grand. One's for like 19,000. Here's one for with 1,000 miles, 132 grand. That's an amazing deal with really low miles, being a 1 or 2 year old supercar. Depreciation, these cars new are anywhere from 160 to 220. So if you do the math, there's a lot of discount there because the depreciation kind of hit this car. Same with McLarens, you're gonna get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of depreciation in the used car market. For Porsche, not so much, but that's why I picked this car, just because of everything. The sound, the looks, but also the price. Being in the 120s right now, it's not by any means cheap, but in terms of supercar territory, where you're looking at other cars for 200, 250 brand new, this car is very affordable compared to those cars. Last but not least, we want to talk about reliability, because if you're daily driving a supercar and you're driving it every day, you want it to be reliable. You want to have no problems and no issues. Number 1, this being a German car makes it more reliable than an Italian car, in my opinion, or British car. I have had a few friends with this car. I've watched a lot of reviews on this car. Very little problems. Some other car manufacturers, not so much. I'm not gonna name names, but this car manufacturer, Audi, being an Audi and not being crazy exotic like a McLaren or Lamborghini, you take it to an Audi dealership. So that makes reliability that much better too. I've had this car now for over a year, 12,000 miles, no real issues. Maintenance, oil change, and yeah, 3 sets of tires so far, but that's because of driving. But reliability is huge, and I think if you're daily driving your supercar, you should really look into the history of how the cars have been lasting in other owners' presences. So if someone's had the car for 3 years, hit them up and say, hey, how many problems have you had? How many problems have you haven't had? I'm telling you, for a year and a few months now, haven't had any problems. People with the second generation R8 that's got them when they first came out, 2 years, let's say they're 2 years or 2 years, 2.5 years old, I could tell you most of them will say they haven't had any problems. So very reliable supercar. You could service it at any Audi, which is amazing. At the end of the day, it's still part of Volkswagen Group, so they have a lot of money and a lot of funding to back their cars and have the technology to be reliable. So that is it. That's the 5th reason. Those are the 5 reasons on why I think this is the best daily drivable supercar. With that being said, like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment below what videos you want to see in the future, what cars. I'm gonna start doing more car reviews here in the next month, so stay tuned for that. But nonetheless, I'll see you guys on the next review, workout, whatever you want to call it. See you later.